Hi creatives and welcome back to AIGA Academy. My name is Malin and here on the channel we talk about how to build a business that really works for you so you have more freedom to create and do the things that you love. Today I'm going to talk about 7 things that you can do to upgrade your creative process. And the goal with this is just to share a bunch of things that I've learned myself in the last 6 years of running my own branding studio. These are things that will make your life a lot easier, they will save you a bunch of time, and they will also make your relationship with your client a lot better. So basically the perfect fit between business growth and mental health. The very first thing I want to talk about is creating templates. Because as we're doing everything in our business, everything from proposals to doing presentations or contracts, these things take time. And if we every time have to think about what section should I include, what information is important, even if you feel like you have it in your head, you have to be present and pull it out of your head. And that just takes a lot of mental energy and a lot of time as well. So I like to think about all of the things that need to be in a typical proposal, a typical presentation, things like that. And then just make a little bit of a bullet point list for each. Then when you're working on your next project, or if you have a bit of time between projects where you want to do some strategy for your business, you can take some time and just create a template in whatever program that you're comfortable using. I like to, for example, use Adobe InDesign for my proposals because it's easy to update it. All I have to do is basically update the text, perhaps switch out some of the case studies if they're not the right fit for the client, and update the budget and timeline. But the rest of it can really stay the same, and that type of stuff really saves you time. I've done a lot of different videos actually on different templates, and so I'm going to link some of them up here and I'll put the links in the description as well. The next one is to make a price list just for you. Because I know a lot of us don't like to share our prices on our website because each project can be quite different. And I think for that reason, a lot of us also pull away from creating a price list. And this doesn't have to be one that's set in stone. My thinking around this is just that, at least for me, every time that I have a project and let's say, okay, I'm designing roll-up banner. I think, what did I charge last time I did a roll-up banner? And I try to think about, was it profitable, was it not? And so every time I just end up charging a little bit differently, or I sometimes undercharge when I remember actually when I look back at it and have some time to think about it that I should have charged more last time. So having kind of like a set price list for yourself that you can always refer back to, I think is just such a helpful thing. And then you can look at the client and the project and think, okay, well, is this more work or less work than my typical project for this? And that will help you set a price that is a little bit more realistic for you rather than sort of trying to remember or take it out of thin air. The third way to upgrade your process is to basically upgrade your design contracts. If you don't have a design contract, please create a design contract. If you're unsure about what to put in it, let me know and I can make a video about it. But basically, there's lots of good resources, like AIGA, for example, has a really good template that I started using when I first started my business. The things that tend to be important are things around copyright, payment plans, who owns, different versions of the files, if there's a royalty fee, let's say you're doing illustrations, for example. But there's so many things that can be important that, you just realize as you're doing your work and as you're having projects going on, you can sort of think back to those pain points, like what was something you wish would have been in your contract. And even if it's not something that you anticipate happening for every project, it can be good to have it there just so that you set boundaries with your client and set expectations. So for example, one that I added after a couple of years of running my business was that if there were any major changes to the business, let's say they changed their target audience, they changed their business name, then the price and the scope of the project basically had to be renegotiated. Because I had a couple times when I was doing branding projects and then halfway through the branding process, they just changed their company name. And that can really change the whole feeling of the brand. And so it just ended up being a lot more work for me. So I think these things are really important to think back to the pain points and then start incorporating them. Our neighbors just started practicing some instruments, so we'll see if that turns up in the video, hopefully not. Maybe I'll put some background music if you can still hear it. I'll give you 2 more tips to put in your contract if you haven't already. And the first one is unused concepts. if you create multiple concepts for your clients and they always pick one that you go with, I think it's always a good idea to put in your contract explicitly that you own the copyright to the concepts that they don't use. This means that if there's part of it that you think are a really good fit for another client, if you want to use it for a passion project or even just like a portfolio on Behance to showcase the work that you did, you have the ownership to that, and it just makes you feel a bit more secure. The next one is basically a pausing protocol. So sometimes clients' businesses go through different phases and things happen and maybe they have to pause the project. And if, let's say, you do payment installments, like 50% at the beginning and 50% at the end, if they're pausing the project for like 2 months in the middle, you're sort of sitting there waiting for your last payment. So what I like to do is put in my proposal that if they are pausing the project, if it has to be paused for a reason that they can control, and like you can specify kind of the parameters of that if you like. But if they are choosing to pause the project, then basically you can charge them for the work that's happened up to that point and then just set a due date for when you're gonna take the project up again. The fourth thing I think you can do to upgrade your creative process is to create a lead funnel for your own business. And I know that this is probably something that you've recommended to your clients. Really looking at your target audience, your marketing strategy, and not just sort of putting effort in different places without kind of tracking how they are all connected. But basically the lead funnel will be a way for you to think about the process of someone going from that completely unaware of you stage to hiring you for a project. Maybe let's say your goal is for people to get in touch, then maybe you have an awareness stage of social media. Maybe the next step is some sort of commitment, like signing up to a freebie or a newsletter, then an ongoing relationship, and then seeing how many of those people are eventually getting in touch when you're emailing them, let's say once a week or once a month. So having this kind of system where you can see it as an experiment and you can tweak each part of it rather than just putting lots of effort into lots of social media platforms and not really knowing which of them are helping your business. I think that is the true strength of a good lead funnel. I actually created a Skillshare course on this, so if you're interested, I'll pop that in the description below as well. And if you sign up with us, you also get a free trial. So I think that's a great opportunity if you want to learn a bit more. You can check out all the different Skillshare classes if you like. The next thing is something that has been a real game changer for my own business, and that is to find ways to build into every meeting at the beginning a way to reinstate the goals of the project. So the goals of the project and the goal of the meeting itself, because this will really set the tone for your clients to have the right mindset when they're going into the meeting. If you're going in, let's say showing concepts, and you're just sort of putting the concept saying, what do you think? There's so many possibilities, you've probably experienced this, of people going on tangents and telling stories of how they feel about different things and experiences in their life, which can be valuable, but they have to be put in the context. So for example, we put, after seeing a little bit about Sagi Havi's process, we started putting in our own presentations the different things about what is the purpose of a logo. So we go back to that. What is the goal of this? Then we go back to the goal from their perspective. So what was the pain point that this project is trying to solve for you? And then we say, these are the kind of categories that we're trying to judge from. So are we looking for it to be a suitable logo for your industry? Are we looking for it to be able to take on meaning, for example? So having those things where you're guiding your client in a way that they're gonna give helpful feedback. I think that's something that's really useful. And you can really bake that into all of your different meetings and all of your different stages. And I think it's so easy to forget about this and kind of you're nervous maybe to show something or you're excited to show something, and so you dive into the presentation. So putting it again into templates where you have it already, and when you're preparing the presentation you are already putting that there as a default. I think that is a really, really helpful way to just keep your projects on track. The next tip is for you out there who want more referrals, more repeat business, and more testimonials. And this is to have a handoff package. You know, at the beginning of the project, most of us have some sort of onboarding where we're telling our clients what to expect and we're giving them an overview of the project. But I think something that more people should do is to have a handoff package, which basically could include things like a thank you note, links to all of the designs that you finalized for them. It can be then an ask for maybe a testimonial, maybe even a link to put it on Google reviews, for example. And then I also like to put just like, these are the other services that we offer. If you're ever interested in getting help with any of these, please just let us know. We'd love to help you out. Because clients often don't realize that you offer more things than they just hired you for. Maybe they heard that you do animation, and so they contact you about animation, you do an animation project, and they don't know that you maybe do illustration, for example, and they might need illustrations for their website. So I think just putting it there and just letting them know, and they can do what they want with that information, is actually a great way to get more repeat business. The very last one that I want to bring up is one that I think a lot of us probably at the back of our mind know that we should do, but I just want to bring it out anyway, and that is to give ourselves more time for projects. Creativity takes a lot of time, and I think we all know that, but when you're having lots of deadlines, it can be tempting to kind of want to just get things rolling and move them forward. When clients ask if things can go faster, it's easy to say yes and want to be very pleasing, which I understand is also something that can be important, but I think just make sure that you have enough time to do a good job, take care of yourself, and keep that sort of creative energy where you have time for learning new things, times to look through books, all that time that you actually need to do a good job and to have a good time at work. I really hope these tips were helpful. If there's anything that I just touched upon that you thought, let's do more of that, please let me know, and I'd love to do a video specifically about it. Just leave me a comment below. If you thought it was helpful, I would love if you subscribed and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we post new videos. We post almost every Wednesday. And so if there's anything, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your projects.